Welcome to Budget Beauty, where I help you look flawless for less. Welcome back, and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen, and this is Budget Beauty. We do everything beauty on a budget, and that includes testing out new eyeshadow palettes. I love to do first impression reviews, tutorials for you. I get asked a lot about how I do my eye makeup. These tutorials are exactly what you need to watch to see the different techniques that I use to create my different eye looks. I do have an entire tutorial playlist, so definitely check that out. But today we are focusing on a palette that I'm really excited about. I love fall. It's my favorite time of year. I love fall colors, oranges, browns, mustard yellow. So as soon as I saw that this beauty was released from Nomad Cosmetics, this is the Hudson Valley palette, I immediately said add to cart and bought it, and it is here. And I am so incredibly excited to test this out and see if it's the traditional fantastic Nomad Cosmetics formula. I will go ahead and insert some footage here of the unicarton. On the back of the unicarton, it does tell you the different shades, lets you know what to expect in the palette. The palette itself is really pretty with this fall-inspired design on the front, and I love the accent of the gold. It's just very, very fall-like, very classy, very pretty. The inside of the palette does have a mirror, which I very much appreciate, and the pan embossing. Every single shade in this palette has pan embossing, and it is all fall. There's pumpkins, there's apples, there's a barn. There are so many cute fall-inspired embossings in these pans that it just makes my fall heart so incredibly happy. I love the color story. It is all things fall. We have reds and greens and taupes and oranges and this beautiful mustard yellow. You can bet we're going to be using that one, and I just can't wait to put this on my eyes. A 15 pan palette, and there are only 3 shimmers. These 3 right down the center. The rest of the shades in the palette are mattes. I love a good matte heavy palette because we use more mattes on our eyes than shimmers generally. So I am really excited. I can't wait to see what we can create with this. Use as many of the mattes as possible. So if you are excited to see my review, first impression, and tutorial with the Nomad Cosmetics Hudson Valley palette, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not, because I do lots and lots of tutorials, and I do upload lots and lots of videos every single week. I will link the Nomad Cosmetics Hudson Valley palette down below with a discount, all of my favorite beauty boxes, the other makeup that I'm wearing today, if you want to recreate this entire look, and of course, come on over, follow me on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. So I'm going to zoom you in, and let's test out Hudson Valley from Nomad Cosmetics. So I already primed my eyes with my MAC paint pot in Painterly. I will make sure that I link that down below for you. That is the eye primer I use every single day. I find that it keeps my eye look in place, the shimmers don't crease, and it just adds to the longevity of the shadow. So I'm going to start with the shade Fall Festival. It's kind of an orangey yellow based shade. Picking that up on a big fluffy brush, I'm going to use that as my transition shade. And once again, very happy that there is a mirror in the palette, so that if you do take this traveling, or if you do your makeup somewhere where you don't have access to a mirror in the palette is always a nice touch. By the way, that was one tap into that shadow, and look at the pigmentation. Wow, that is so pretty. It is such a pumpkin-y orange color. I love it. Now there is a tiny bit of kick up in the pan. That is fine with me. I know that kick up generally means pigmentation, so I never get upset about kick up. Just be mindful, if you're like me and do your base makeup first, to go ahead and set your face so that you can easily wipe away any fallout that may happen. But I will tell you that I don't see any fallout with this shade. There's just the pigmentation kick up in the pan. Now I'm going to pick up this really fun olivey green called Mountain Hike. I'm also picking that up on a fluffy brush as well, and I'm going to focus that on the crease itself. I want to add a little bit more depth to my crease, as well as add in a little bit of that kind of grungy olive green, and it pairs beautifully with this orange. So you can see that it's adding a little bit of depth to the crease, and it's blending out beautifully with the orange. Again, there is a tiny bit of kick up in the pan, but no fallout. Using that same fluffy brush that had that shade Fall Festival on it, I'm not adding any more shadow to my brush. I'm just going to use that to blend that out. And so far, the matte formula is the typical really, really good Nomad Cosmetic matte formula. So I really like how the orange and the green kind of pair together. It's definitely fall vibes, a little bit on the grungy side. Now I want to deepen up my outer corner, and I'm going to go in with this dark brown shade here in the corner called Farm to Table, and I'm going to pick that up on a little bit more dense brush, and I'm going to focus that in the outer corner to add that depth. Ooh, this shade is beautiful. It's a chocolatey brown, but it does have a tiny bit, like tiny bit of a green base. So it's pairing really nicely with the other eyeshadows. So that's really nice. Added that depth that I wanted to the outer corner. And I really like this more neutral yet kind of grungy look. Now for the shimmers, like I said, we only have three. We have this beautiful green, this little bit deeper orange, and then this kind of yellowy orange. So I think I'm going to start with the shade Foliage Trail, and I'm going to pick that up on my finger. As always, I like to show you shimmers on my finger, shimmers with a brush, so we can see how they apply. And I'm going to focus that on the outer 2/3 of my lid. That is really pretty. I love the gold base to that. It just adds a nice bit of shimmer, not over the top shimmer. It is buildable. This is the second swipe in with my finger, and it's very opaque and very pretty. It's not a really shimmery shimmer, if that makes sense. It doesn't have a lot of reflect. It's a little bit more of a satin shimmer, but it's still really pretty. And I'm going to use the green shimmer here called Corn Maze. I'm gonna pick that up on a brush, and that looks like it might have a little bit more reflect or a little bit more shimmer. I'm going to put that in my inner corner. Oh yeah, that is so pretty. So that definitely has a little more shimmer and a little more reflect than the orange shade. That's really pretty, and it brings out the green that I have in my crease. Now both the shimmers picked up really nicely with the finger or with a brush, but I kind of want to use that third shimmer in the palette. Down here, this kind of yellowy orange called Leaf Prepping. So on the opposite side of that flat brush, I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to apply that on the outer third of my lid. That way that other orange shimmer is still there, but this is going to add just a little bit of depth and a little bit more pizzazz to the look. This looks like fall leaves. I mean, between the shimmers and the mattes on the lid, it is giving me fall leaves. It actually reminds me a lot of what's on the cover of the palette, and I love it. So for my lower lash line, I want to use this burgundy shade called Wine Harvest. It is so beautiful, and I'm going to buff that on my lower lash line. And that color is so pretty. Oh my gosh, I love that wine color, wow. And then back into that shimmer shade in the middle, Foliage Trail. I'm going to apply that on the inner portion of my lower lash line and buff it over with that burgundy shade for that shimmery lower lash line that you know I love. So pretty, so fall. I love that. Let me go ahead and apply some liner and some mascara, and I'll be back to share the final look, and we'll go ahead and do our lips together. So here's the completed eye look. I added mascara and liner, and like I said, let's go ahead and do our lips together. I have to say, spoiler alert, I love my eye look. I think it's neutral with a twist, and it's all the fall feels, which I'm here for. So for lips, I want to stick with that neutral fall vibe. So I'm going to use the High Def Honey Lip Liner from Buxom. I love Buxom lip liners. They're really, really good. So we'll go ahead, line our lips. I do like to overline just a tiny bit. I've been blessed with pretty full lips, so I don't have to do a lot of overlining, mainly on my top lip. I really, really love this color. It is a neutral brown, perfect for any type of lip color, whether you go with a deeper brown, a little bit more pinky toned brown. But today I want to use the new Fenty gloss that came in my Sephora kit. So that video already went live on my channel with the brand new holiday must-haves kit. I'll link that video down below. But I've been really loving this little Fenty gloss bomb that came in that kit, and it's going to pair perfectly with my eye look. Also, side note, smells amazing. It's a pretty opaque color, and these two paired together I really love. So I'll make sure both of these are linked down below for you. So here's my completed look for today. Let's go ahead and go over my final thoughts on the Nomad Cosmetics Hudson Valley palette. Now, if you couldn't tell, during the tutorial portion, I love it. I love all the fall colors. I love that it's a neutral palette with a twist. I mean, we have some deep burgundies. We even have a true red, you know I love the mustard yellow. You could actually create looks by rows too for a little bit more of a monochromatic look. You can mix and match the mattes like I did, and then the shimmers in the middle are really pretty. Now this one in the middle, shade Foliage Trail, isn't the most shimmer. These two are a little bit more shimmery. It is really pretty though, and it set a really nice base where I was able to add a little bit more shimmer and texture with some of the others in the palette. But overall, the mattes, as always with Nomad, are really, really good, and the shimmers are great. Nomad's strong point isn't their shimmers. Not that they're bad, because they're not. They're really, really good, but their strong point is 100% their mattes, and this palette, as always, didn't disappoint with the mattes. I really love this. I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this. This would be a fantastic palette for travel because, again, it's a little bit more neutral and it has the mirror, which I really appreciate. So overall, I really love the palette. I love my look. I think it turned out really nice. I will link Nomad Cosmetics Hudson Valley down below for you with a discount. Also, you'll find all my favorite beauty boxes, all of the other makeup, including this fun lippy, down below for you, of course. And come on over, follow me on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. But I love this palette. I love the Hudson Valley palette, and I couldn't be happier that I picked it up, especially for my favorite season, fall.